Welcome back to Fate Magazine Radio. I do not know exactly what was causing this horrible technical glitch, but we are back for our second hour, and this is Kat Hobson, host of Fate Radio, with my guest, Frank Lee. I have to tell you that sometimes I absolutely ponder whether talking about the paranormal and glitches in the system and things that the educational system does and aliens and all these other things is a great idea when you have to depend on different kinds of government things to make it work. But that being said, I think it's Gremlins too. That is too funny, and I agree. I think it's just one of those things. But you know what? We've got the best of all worlds here. We've got different options. And we're back. So it's all good. Just because I was sweating bullets and having a momentary panic attack, it's all good.
Right. It's all said now.
Well, I do want to know, truly, where you want to go next with this conversation, because to be honest, I got a little blown out of the water with trying to make my emergency repairs on the fly, but aren't you proud of me that I can actually do that now?
I am. It's just like we were talking about yesterday about, about how much you have really picked up on that and just ran with it, that, you're, you went from being nervous, hope I can pass that to, oh wait, let me fix
Well, I'm not quite as freaked out by it as I used to be. I will give myself credit for that because I kind of hit the ground running with this stuff. Well, we were talking about that yesterday. When we were talking about it, and I said that was what made me the most insane about doing this was that, oh my gosh, I thought computers were absolutes. That it was the one thing that nothing would alter. It would always be the same. And it's really not. And it has been quite a shift in my reality. You want to talk about Mandela effects and other things that are shocking? The fact that I've been told that if a computer does this, it can't alter. That if it's in the program, it will run that way every time. And it doesn't. Well, I know that a lot of those are supposed to be quite good. And I know that there are times that if we're wanting to maybe have something validated in the field, we use them. We have had people that think that that's not a good thing to do on investigations. I don't mind a spirit box. I would love to have the tools that you were using last night and Friday night also for the the experiment because they cannot be manipulated. I like something that I know cannot be manipulated. And I just now brought you into this conversation. So I apologize. We were talking about the fact that the tools that you were using are not easily manipulable. So people didn't hear your responses. Yes. What is up with that then? I don't. Well, this has just turned into a very odd technical thing. I think you need to growl. Growl and say get out and do some more growling. But let me see if I can't make you sound as wonderful as you really do. So that's one thing about you. You've got a great, great voice. You just talk amongst yourselves.
Let's see. Okay.
I think we've got
Okay.
it. What
Am
do
I
y'all think? Does
still
he
in
sound
EV?
just absolutely astounding, people?
Hello, folks. I'm not Johnny Cash. I'm just short of cash. Thank you very much. I'll
Oh my goodness, you are just so
be,
wild.
I'll be here
Brenda
all
says
night.
she just yelled at the gremlins and the awful noise stopped and she hears Frank. Yes, thank you, Brenda, for driving the gremlins away. I love
Awesome.
my life. I really do. I really do because, and 4 months ago, if this were happening, I would have been on the phone with you saying, "What do I do? Oh my God." Because you are my
hmm
sound tech, tech
So,
support. So that is too funny, and I'm still trying to talk into my Sennheiser, but I love it. That is just a riot. But all that being said, and with all of these little glitches, which are going to go away, y'all are going to have a beautiful full 2 hour show. And my apologies, sincerely. Sometimes things happen that I don't understand, and we were hardwired. And I stepped away from the computer and I stepped back, and it sounded like the wrath of God. So now
right.
we're back, and you sound beautiful. Thank you. I wanted to get back to what we were talking about when I said that, well, things like that just happened. When you're having to, mine obviously was some sort of a technical issue, although neither of us can identify that, and you're pretty good at that. When someone is having a glitch in the matrix, as it were, they start to get really panicked. And everything appears to be frightening and paranormal, right? That's when we get the calls.
Right. Well, the big thing is the paranormal is not, it's kind of like we were talking about earlier. There's the normal process of things. There's as an individual, we each have our own level of understanding and comprehension of how the world works around us. The paranormal is something that is a glitch outside of that normal operation, or at least outside of our comprehension of it. And, there are a couple of different reactions that we can take. We can take a logical approach to it. We can take a problem-solving approach, or we can go into full-on panic mode. And, that's something we have to remember, though. It is a glitch that we're trying to track down when we're talking about paranormal occurrences. The thing about glitches is A plus B doesn't always equal C. We can't predict when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen.
As evidenced, right?
Right. And, that's... and that's something that we have to be willing to understand. And we have to keep in mind that the paranormal is unknown. So just because we think we have an idea of what it is doesn't mean that we're right. For instance, that reminds me of a case that we worked here just a few years ago that three paranormal teams had went in before us and investigated. We were the fourth team going in. The three teams that went in ahead of us had told this family, you're going to have to move. You've got this negative entity attached to you, and it's attached to this property. And I think one of them told them that he needed an exorcism, and they'd done exorcisms. They'd done house cleansings. They'd done all of this stuff. And had the poor guy was on the edge of a nervous breakdown. He was terrified.
Of course he was.
And what it ended up being when we investigated, it was his fish tank.
I remember that.
Nothing paranormal at all going on there. It was an infrasound frequency put up from his air filter for the fish tank vibrating against the wall. And it was putting out an infrasound frequency that was affecting everybody in the house. After we corrected the positioning of the air filter and set that right, all of a sudden all of the ghosts were gone, and he didn't need to move. He didn't need an exorcism. And that kind of correlates back to our comprehension of the world around us and how it works. Because it's so easy when we don't understand something to panic, to jump to conclusions, and that's something we can't do. We set ourselves up for failure when we do that.
Every time.
Yes, that it's something that that's just a dangerous reaction to have. But a lot of people say the most primal fear in humans is fear of the dark, but that's not exactly accurate. The most primal fear in humans is the fear of the unknown. which is why